And finally, we are at our main event. And ladies and gentlemen, when I say that the anticipation for this match is off the charts, I am lying. The anticipation for Adam Cole's return has been growing, and people have been following his progress and wanted to see him come back, and they like him and his entrance. They're overjoyed to see him back. But his first match back after 276 days, as they mentioned to us, is against Daniel Garcia. I'm not saying that Adam shouldn't start back with a number of good, decisive wins in 7 or 8 minutes. Nice competitive little thing and, get some wins. But his first match back, one would think, they tried to make it a big deal when they, bought out Party Mart of the streamers. But, and when Garcia made his entrance, the air was sucked out of the room after Adam Cole's. And this was the television main event. They're going strictly on, will everybody stick around to see Adam's first match back? But we didn't do anything to give him an interesting first match back. And, he's in cardio shape, and he was tanned, and he can work. And it was maybe a little bit rusty at the start.
Tanning isn't lifting.
Well, I'm just saying,
Tanning isn't lifting.
He's doing the other cosmetic things. I was trying to do the compliment sandwich. He's in cardio shape. He's got a tan. He can work. He maybe was a little bit rusty at the start. But
do you think maybe he there are certain people I'm not going in a political direction here, but they said Donald Trump doesn't believe in exercise. He thinks that wears you down actually, as opposed to the opposite. Do you think maybe Adam Cole thinks weightlifting is bad for the body?
Look at the pictures when he was in NXT and look at now. And I know he's had a rough go with the concussions, and we were talking about it either earlier in this marathon program or the last show we did. If it's medical, I can understand that, but he was getting smaller before he was off all this time. And he had a look and a presence and some type of physique in NXT that is not looking the same here now, is what I'm saying. But nevertheless, it doesn't matter because this match was not any good. And I hate to say that because I like Adam, but I'm not a fan of Garcia because fuck, if he was in some, wonderful indie circuit somewhere where he might get some experience, but he was foisted off on us again like everybody is. He appears and you can't get rid of him. He never wins, but he's on every show in every match.
No, he wins. He beat Danielson.
No, but listen to me. Remember when he first showed up, he beat nobody. He was on every show. We're like, where the fuck did this guy come from and why can't we get rid of him? And after they beat him into powder, then he starts winning. And then they put him in a fucking group as a stooge and blah, blah, blah. But nevertheless, within 2 minutes of this match, Garcia picks up Adam Cole and gives him a fucking pile driver right on top of his head. Adam rolls out to the floor, and the referee, instead of starting a count, goes out to check on him. And that's the break spot. So within 2 minutes of this thing, Adam Cole, who is coming off concussions, I know they're trying to tell his story, but he's also coming off, we ain't seen this motherfucker wrestle in 9 months. And you've just pile drived him flat on top of his head 2 minutes into the goddamn match. And then they're gone in the break. When they come back, within 15 seconds, he's making a comeback, Adam Cole, and hits the big move or drops the guy on back of his head on the knee, 2 count. So now he's coming back. We've only seen 2.5 minutes of this fucking match. And that's what it ended up being. There was very little shine. There was a microscopic amount of heat that we saw on television. And then they did a fucking 8-minute back and forth finish that would just, at one point, Garcia hits a big German suplex and boom, and goes for a super kick, and Cole is up and hits his own super kick and gets a 2 count. Or then Cole's in a leg lock, the heels submission hold, and gets a rope break. And then Adam's selling, and Garcia does nothing. And then he argues with the crowd. And then he goes up on the ropes to glorify to the crowd. And then the referee comes over and tells him something. And then he goes back to Adam Cole. It's like a minute later, nothing happened. Did he get lost? What the fuck? Then he goes back over, picks him up, and gives him another pile driver for a 2 count. And the very next move made by either one of these guys after Garcia pile drives Cole for a 2 count is Cole gets up and super kicks Garcia and hits the Panama Sunrise after he just got pile drived. And then the knee to the back of the head, 1, 2, 3. How did Garcia get lost, go blank? It doesn't matter anyway. How can Adam Cole, with the experience that he's got, justify the sequence of whatever the fuck happened, unless that's not what was supposed to happen? And then Britt Baker came out and hugged him. And then the streamers dropped. It looked like Luger at SummerSlam.
That's the same thing I thought. Same thing I thought.
You know, and then Jericho came out, picks up Garcia, and does the dramatic thing twice. Once at the ring and once on top of the ramp, where he looks backwards over his shoulder derisively at Adam Cole, slowly and derisively. Dramatic foreshadowing. So poor Adam Cole. The young, most popular fucking guy now in the company is coming back. So you just know Chris Jericho got to get him some of that. The adrenochrome of Adam Cole.
You knew that as soon as they booked him with Garcia. It was all about Jericho. Like, that was the clue right there. You know, for me, you know, there's two different things. There's the good story of Adam Cole, who everyone universally says is the sweetest guy in the world. You talk to wrestlers, like, he's such a sweetheart. Yeah. This guy. They all love him. And it's good that he's healthy enough to be in the ring wrestling. But on the other hand, one, I'm going to get real tired real quick if he's going to have to sell possible concussions every single match. Because that's what he did several times here. Every time he went to the ground, he was holding his head. And the other thing is,
one would have thought a pile driver would have even more effect then, wouldn't one? But nevertheless.
Well, you never know what it will be later in the day. Obviously, the pile driver kicked things in, and that caused the super kick. But Adam Cole, for me, is one of the big exposés personally in how I feel about wrestlers superficially. I said it a couple weeks ago. I'm all for fat guys in wrestling. I like a variety of body types and people and personalities. When I watch Adam Cole, especially in there with Garcia, who, you know, looks athletic but doesn't have any sort of remarkable... I don't think you would see that guy walking down the street and go, that's a wrestler. Not that that's a...
But next to Adam, that's a big fucking guy.
Man, he's just so small, and his arms are so small, and there's no muscle tone in his legs, and, you know, the fake tan looked all right, but even that wasn't perfect. And again, tanning isn't lifting. And then, like I saw it several times at the end when he went for a few of the kicks, the thigh slaps, the thigh slaps that I really have a problem with are the ones where you could just see the guy holding his hand above his thigh waiting to slap it. Like, that's where I have a problem with it. Otherwise, you know, if you do it right, you do it right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when you could see the guy waiting to do it, that takes me out of it. And, you know, I want to root for the guy.
Besides that, if he don't stop losing thigh, he's going to have a hard time hitting it.
Very, very good point. Well, you win 2 points for you. But they're going to probably go all the way with him. I'm pretty sure they'll set him up for MJF if this babyface thing works out. Now they're going all the way with him and Britt. Apparently, I didn't see the reality show yet, but it was all about Britt and him.
We're going to be forced at some point to at least weigh in with an opinion on that thing. I have a feeling, but I'm not in a hurry.
You didn't watch it either?
I just, if I only had time.
But I don't know. I want to root for the guy on a personal level, you know, but just because he doesn't have a silly gimmick like Orange Cassidy doesn't mean it doesn't look to some of us as ridiculous in terms of him being in there. It just doesn't. I can't think of anyone I used to play sports with that looked that out of shape, or not even out of shape, just
not out of shape, just
not in shape.
No shape.
No shape.
He's in shape.
Video game shape.
He's in cardio shape. I mean, he could run circles around me at least. I don't know about you. I know you're ex-marathon running and, the fucking dog sled thing you used to do, the Iditarod. But the point is, he's hardly there. He's getting smaller.
And for the first match back, again, I go back to the traditional wrestling stuff because sometimes that is what works best. Should he have had a competitive match with a Daniel Garcia or anyone? Or should he have come in there against someone and win definitively quickly? Make people want to see more, not sell his head yet. Hit a couple of impressive moves, celebrate with his girl. Jericho gets to do his dramatic acting from the Cody Rhodes Acting Academy. Here's Chris Jericho.
Well, you're right. There was a couple of things I would have done. A couple of things depending on the time frame. If there was a pay-per-view coming up anywhere near, I would have had his return on pay-per-view and give him some type of legitimate opponent that he could do 10 minutes with and still win. Or if you're going to put it on TV, like you said, maybe 6 minutes and decisively, but not a top guy that he almost gets the shit kicked out of him for the majority of the match and Hail Mary wins it. I don't understand that choice.
It's kind of like Rocky V. Rocky's a little punch drunk and he's back in Philadelphia. And he's living with Paulie and he meets Tommy Gunn. And then they fight in the street with a bus. Can we get a bus, Tony? How much for a bus for the fight?
You know what? Plumber Moxley ought to be a character on South Park. I've heard that the tone in your voice there when you're doing he could be the evil Cartman. Or Plumber Bundy. Maybe we'll just change his name to Plumber Al Bundy.